Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm kind of doing a review on the Yaya Han's cosplay fabric line, as well as showing you how I made my shirt. So first what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to trace and cut out your pattern. So the fabric that I'm using here from her line is actually a 4-way stretch pleather. It's kind of okay. It doesn't look leathery as much as I would like it to, but it does get the sort of idea across. Since it's a 4-way, it does mean that it stretches in every direction along the bias, along the grain, everywhere it stretches. And so on that hand, it's pretty good. On the other hand, it still kind of looks a little fake, but it's a costume fabric. You can't expect as much. A lot of the other qualities of her other fabrics I didn't like as much either, but that's okay. So yeah, here you can see I'm cutting it out. Normally with other fabrics I would try to use my X-Acto knife that is sitting over to the left. However, I can't use it with this fabric because again it is a stretch. Make sure you save the little collar piece. You'll be needing it later. But yeah, so the stretch material here definitely makes it harder to cut out using an X-Acto knife. Sorry if you just heard my mic make noise and there was something on it. And you can also tell that I'm using weights to help keep the fabric down and to keep it from sliding, which is another issue I've had working with this. Once you're done with that piece, make sure to cut out your other piece, or other pieces, if you have any. And what you're going to do is, so for this shirt in particular, I have my front piece and my back piece. Back, front. Yeah. So then I laid my pieces together, and I started clipping the sides together. I like to use clips for this. You can use pins. I would not recommend using pins, but yeah. So pins actually tend to leave holes in this material since it's more of a vinyl stretch. And as you can also tell, it kind of likes to roll. So here I'm pinning the shoulders and the side seams together. You just want to make sure that you line up your edges and you line up your corners nicely. So yeah, here I'm adding more clips just to make sure that everything stays in place when I get to sew it. It's a little harder to pin some of them or clip them because of the rolling of the fabric, but that's fine. Next, what you're going to want to do is get into bobbin and some elastic thread. You want to use an elastic thread so that it'll stretch with your fabric and to not break on you. However, you only want to use the elastic thread for the bobbin. You don't want to use it for the top. It might be a little hard to find the end of it, so you might just want to unwind it a little until you find the end. Once you find the end, it may be a little unraveled, so you can just clip that off and thread your bobbin. You want to wind your bobbin by hand, not by machine, because when you use the machine to do it, it'll pull on the elastic and it'll stretch it, and that is not what we want. We want it to be nice and not too loose, but not too tight. I like to use the back of a flat object just to help guide threads on the bobbin so that they line up nicely. Make sure you don't cut it while it's in there, otherwise you might have a little bit of a problem. So you're going to want to loosen the thread guide on your bobbin casing. Here I'm using a bobby pin to point it out and to kind of loosen it a little bit. I would definitely recommend getting your own kit for your sewing machine to help loosen your thread guide later on, or tighten it back up once you're done if you need to. But a bobbin works fine for me. You'll want to make sure that it's loose enough that you can pull on your thread without it stretching too much, and then you're going to want to thread your machine like normal. You're going to want to set your machine so that it does a zigzag stitch as well, because a zigzag stitch will stretch with your fabric, whereas a running stitch would not. Remember that collar piece from earlier? We're going to use that to adjust our stitch width, length, and tension in my case. If you have other things on your machine you need to adjust as well, you may do that. So here I'm setting my zigzag stitch. It's off screen so you can't see it, but I like to make mine so that it is as wide as it is long. I just feel like it gets a better stretch that way. And that's good enough for me. You can see it kind of has the zigzags there. You can kind of see the zigzags there as well. So grab your pieces and start stitching them together. I'm starting with the shoulder straps just to get these smaller pieces out of the way first. And you definitely want to make sure you do a back stitch at the beginning and the end of your line, and to cut off both pieces of thread once you're done. Another thing you're going to want to make sure you do is when it rolls like that, make sure it gets underneath there and not in the way. Here I'm using the back of a seam ripper to push my fabric in the right direction. And here I'm working on the sides now, making sure my pieces line up still. The last little bit of advice I have for you on sewing this is to guide your fabric. Do not pull or push your fabric in any way. Also make sure that, everything lays flat. Once you're done sewing all of your pieces together, you might need to adjust it a little, tighten some areas. I wouldn't suggest loosening any areas because then you would have to start all over. So start with a loose kind of thing and then work your way to making it tighter. So all in all, I did kind of enjoy this fabric. It is something that I will definitely be using again. There are certain things that I don't like as much about it, but I'm so glad that cosplay is becoming better known in the world. So thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.